Hi there, I'm Philip,
And I'm Diana, the mum.
and we run the OsFirstTimer YouTube channel.
My son gets me to try out a bunch of operating systems from a variety of different time periods to see how user-friendly and intuitive each operating system is.
This allows us and our viewers to see how the desktop computer operating system environment has changed over the past few decades and how differently you perform tasks in each OS.
And due to the popularity of our first channel, we created a second, Terrified Mum it's called, where I try out scary PC games and literally get terrified.
And a face cam at the bottom of each video captures every scream and funny, terrified facial expression.
Philip, shame on you terrifying your mom that way. Sounds like fun. Anyway, I would like to welcome both Philip and his mom, Diana. You may have seen them on YouTube as OS First Timer. All right, well, let's get started. I have 5 questions. The first question is, how has technology and or social media changed you and your family?
Technology has changed our family life and life in general, and not necessarily in a bad way. For instance, I believe my son and I spend quality time together doing something that really interests him, and I get a buzz out of it myself. The videos we do on YouTube together. We now have 2 channels, OS First Timer with around 3,500 subscribers and over 300,000 views across all the videos, and our newest channel, Terrified Mum, which has almost 600 subs. We really have a lot of fun together with these, and I can honestly say it has drawn us closer together. So many times we have got together and read through the comments. We get laughing madly together. At night, as a family, we watch movies. We have pre-taped from Foxtel and enjoy sitting together, laughing together, being scared together, or whatever. Then we have something interesting to discuss. Our mobiles mean that we can always get in contact with each other, no matter where we are, by either talking or text. I remember in the past when my husband and I did not have a mobile. It got very frustrating at times when we needed to get in contact, but couldn't. Now, even if I just want to ask my husband a quick question, share something that has happened, or just hear his voice because I'm feeling down, I can. Anytime, anywhere. Likewise, if I was up at 2 a.m. because, let's say, I couldn't sleep or whatever, I could send an email to a close friend telling them what was troubling me or what was on my mind, knowing that once I hit send, they have it in their inbox ready to read as soon as possible. This can be quite therapeutic in a way. From a work point of view, one of my business activities is a pamphlet delivery company whereby I have 40 contractors working for me. If I need to just inform them of something, I can very easily just drop an email rather than spending ages trying to contact each individual person. A computer has made my work simpler. For instance, letter templates means that I just change a few words or sentences to make that letter appropriate to a particular contractor, for instance, instead of having to type up a whole new letter every time, not to mention the vast amounts of information it stores. It saves time in my day-to-day life, for instance, being able to pay bills instead of physically going out to pay them, etc., which I used to. Yeah, it's definitely changed our family life and life in general.
Well, my life before getting the internet in 2007 was very dull. It simply consisted of me wanting to spend time with my parents, but never being able to because they both had multiple full-time jobs, so I just spent my time alone at home doing massive 2,000-piece puzzles day after day on the tiled lounge room floor. Once I got the internet, however, in 2007, everything changed. I was at the time 13 years old, and I spent my time chatting to my friends from school online, playing massively on multiplayer online games like RuneScape, stuff like that during my school holidays, and I went from completely unsocial to very social once I got the internet. Not face-to-face social, but, computer-to-computer social, if you get what I mean. In my opinion though, families these days don't get to spend much time together since they have to work all the time anyway, so technology simply fills the gap where we would be spending our time doing less interesting things. It doesn't take away time that we would spend with our families, because in today's modern society we are too busy to spend face-to-face time with each other anyway.
Question number 2. Does forgetting your cell phone make you feel naked?
Yes, definitely. I do feel naked if I forget to take my mobile. I have even driven halfway to work and remembered that I'd forgotten my phone and simply turned right back around and gone home to get it, regardless of how much traffic I have to battle through. From a work point of view, especially if you spend a lot of time on the road or going from job to job like I do, being contactable is vital to business, and for me it also negates the need for an office and a full-time secretary taking my calls. It also gives me peace of mind as I have 2 children. I need to be contactable in case there's an emergency. Kids will always get up to things, unpredictable things. It's also very convenient to be able to contact my husband just to ask a quick question or pick something up on the way home, etc. It's just one of those things you come to take for granted. Before I even had one, and mind you, I did not get a mobile phone till I was 30, which is quite late, I believed they were just a luxury. Now, after having one for 9 years, it's not a luxury, it's an essential. I don't know what I would do without my mobile. If someone was to take it away from me, it would be like cutting off my right hand. So, yeah, even more extreme than just being naked.
If I've left my iPhone for us at home accidentally, I feel slightly naked, if that's the word for it, but it's not that bad. What makes me feel completely insecure is if I'm missing my iPhone entirely and I know I've brought it with me, so it's definitely not at home. Generally, without my phone, I don't have contact with my parents or have the web to browse when I'm waiting in line at a hairdresser or on my lunch break at work. While I have my iPhone, however, I don't like having it in my pocket because I'm worried about it falling out or giving me cancer from radiation. When I have it in my bag, though, I get worried about someone stealing it, so although it's good to have around, it's just another thing to be worried about.
Hey, I just thought of a new iPhone app. How about a radiation meter? Oh, never mind. Alright, question number 3. Are violent video games affecting young minds?
I definitely believe that violent video games are affecting young minds, and I feel quite strongly about this one. Look at the rate of crime these days as opposed to, say, 100 years ago. Constant viewing of violent things desensitizes you, anyone, but young minds in particular, because they're more sensitive to that sort of thing. Young minds don't really have a view of what's right and what's wrong, and a lot of what they see they just get to take as if it's just normal. Look at how many cases we hear of where children or teenagers, are pulling out knives or even a gun and shooting other students. 100 years ago, you would never even hear of things like that. So yeah, I do definitely believe that young minds are being affected in a terrible, terrible, tragic way.
For me, it depends on what you call young. Personally, as a child between 5 to 12, playing video games, I had a very big distinction between the game world and the real world. I practically labelled everything in the game world as bad and something that I should never do and never could do in real life. This limited my life, however, because I got the impression that driving was something bad and that I would only ever be able to do in a video game. Something interesting to note, however, is that violence is a very big thing for 3 to 5 year olds in the childcare centre I work at. As a junior preschool teacher, I commonly get children building fake guns, pointing them at each other, and making machine gun sounds with their mouth. Like, it is so realistic, you'd think it really was a machine gun. They go like, and they do the fast tongue move. I can't even do it myself. Now, they know this is wrong, because as soon as I look at them, in the eye, they smile and say, "Water pistol," and they change the machine gun sound to like a water sound. And I doubt they are playing violent video games at this age, so it could be TV or, well, I don't know why guns are such a common thing for 3 to 5 year olds. Maybe it's something to do with the iPad and how accessible and easy computers are able to be used by very young children, because touchscreen is much easier for a child than a keyboard or mouse or a controller. Still, it's awful to hear, like, 5 to 8 young boys saying they are shooting and killing each other and me every day.
Question number 4 is excessive texting making us less social by communicating less vocally?
We may be communicating less vocally, but I believe we are communicating more. And by communicating more, we are therefore more social. Just because we are not always using our voice does not mean we are any less social. I sometimes find that I can express myself better in a text, or even be bold and daring and say things in a text that I would not normally say verbally. That can be quite a thrill. Also, I have had situations whereby I have been playful with a friend and texting things I would not normally say to their face. Sometimes it can actually be more fun in a text. And when you're not right in front of them, texting opens up doors to be able to communicate and therefore be more social, much, much more, in many more situations. Although less vocally, we are communicating more.
Oh, I don't really text on my phone because I believe it's a complete waste of money and time. If I'm going to chat with someone, I do it with instant messaging on the computer or with a voice chat on my computer. And also, I only do this when I'm away from the family rather than like at the dinner table while we're chatting or eating or something like that.
Yeah, texting. It's such a pain in my Vegemite. Alright, the final question. Does technology hinder family time?
Yes and no. It can add to family time by entertainment, like getting together and having a real movie experience together, popcorn, the works, playing games together, which can be really fun, thrilling, and, quite exciting. However, it can also take you away from spending time with your family if, for instance, you all have different likes and dislikes. A classic example of this can be, say, when a son is sitting up in his bed surfing the net with his iPad, the daughter is in the bath talking to a friend on her mobile for hours and hours, the father's on the lounge with his feet up watching the footy, and the wife's in a room on her laptop doing all her emails. Yes, this can hinder family time. Also, another way of looking at it, the modern family seems to be constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. They need to have the latest iPhone, the biggest LCD TV, the latest gadgets. This all costs money. And so families are working longer hours out of the home to earn enough money to be able to have all these things. Once upon a time, there was only the father that was out working. Now it's absolutely essential for both people in a couple to go out and work. Of course, this hinders family time, but at the same time it can make it more exciting. For instance, when families can spend time together enjoying technology, a simple game like the Wii, or even watching an action-packed, heart-stopping, thrilling movie together. Now that's pretty fun and exciting.
It depends on what you mean by technology, but I'm going to assume you are referring to anything electronic for that question. So I think family time would be dull without technology at my age and with my family. Our family time involves watching a Foxtel movie while eating fruit and ice cream in front of the TV at night. To us, that is family time, and I can't imagine us spending the night just chatting or playing a board game. Like, technology is what we do today, and whether it's by ourselves or just like with a family, it's still quality time. It doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're spending it with a family, that is quality time. So whether it's doing a board game with a family, whether it's chatting to your family, whether it's playing a computer game with your family, because I've heard there's even some family that spends 8 hours a day on WoW. Like, I don't know them personally, I saw it on YouTube or something, but it's still family time. They are still interacting, still spending family time. It doesn't matter what you do. As long as you're with each other, that's family time.
I want to take the time and thank both Philip and Diana for taking the time to answer these really important questions concerning family, social media, and technology. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure the listeners will get much out of this conversation. Putting all jokes aside, listening to your responses, I sense the concern, uh, the thoughts. I sense the concern in Diana's voice when she answered the question about violence and video games. My son started playing Xbox back in 2005. He's now a teenager, and I have had thoughts and concerns about how the games would affect young minds. He's thankfully, with guidance, he seems to understand the difference between fantasy and reality. But I think as parents we still have those thoughts. What happens when some kids may not be able to perceive what is real and what is not, what's good and what is bad. That particular comment, at least for me as a parent, stuck out in my mind. But overall, at least for you guys, technology seems to have helped you bring your family together, and has made family time, has made life a lot more fun and enjoyable. And you know what? I think that's absolutely terrific. So once again, thank you. Thank you, OS First Timer. Check out their channel on YouTube. It's a terrific channel, and it's about really as real as it gets when it shows a person taking a look at an operating system for the first time. I think you guys have done a terrific job, and I enjoy looking at your videos. Well, that's it for this Parents Podcast number 1. Be on the lookout for Parents Podcast number 2. I don't know what guest I will have on that one, but for this one, thank you so much, Philip and Diana. And as always, I will catch all of you sometime in the future.